of the verses we hear a lot at Christmas is Isaiah 9 verse 2. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. We don't need to look very far to see proof that we're living in a pretty dark world. Increasing terrorist attacks, children being abused, thousands of refugees. Swedish electro producer Avicii wrote the song Wake Me Up. It opens with a line, feeling my way through the darkness, and the chorus goes on to say, wake me up when it's all over. Darkness often triggers this reaction, to hibernate, to escape, or more often than not, to run towards the light. Jesus said, I am the light of the world. And another famous Christmas passage expands on this. At the beginning of John's Gospel, it says, the Word gave life to everything, and his life brought light to everyone. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness can never overcome it. The Word became flesh and blood and moved into the neighbourhood. I think we forget sometimes that Jesus wasn't born in a pristine mansion in Knightsbridge or Alderley Edge. This tiny, vulnerable child of the Christmas story was born in a filthy stable, in a feeding trough, surrounded by dirty animals. This baby then went on to become a child refugee, fleeing from his home and travelling to Egypt for safety. But what does this vulnerable Christmas child have to say to a dark world? The shortest verse in the Bible is Jesus wept. His best friend died, and Jesus' response is exactly what ours would have been. He wept. At the core of the message of Christianity is the belief that God has not left us alone in our suffering. He became flesh and blood and moved into the neighbourhood, and he experienced every possible human emotion and pain. He wept. But Jesus also experienced the ultimate suffering, the one we're probably all most afraid of, death itself. He willingly gave up his life in order to be the light that we so desperately needed in our darkness. Many of the young people in our youth groups will be familiar with John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish but have eternal life. But they might not be aware that the verse then goes on to say this. God didn't go to all the trouble of sending his Son merely to point an accusing finger, telling the world how bad it was. He came to help, to put the world right again. The light doesn't just point out the mess in the darkness, he comes to do something about it. The amazing thing about this light is that it found us. It comes to us without any effort on our part. The light is a gift to us, one which we've done nothing to deserve, and one which we never need to repay. The light is not a rule book, nor a list of instructions. It's not a bunch of things that we have to do right before we can get ourselves out of the darkness. The light is a person who wept. It says in Revelation 21:4 that God himself will wipe every tear from their eyes. There'll be no more death or sorrow or crying or pain. All these things are gone forever. We have a future hope that there one day will be no more pain. Baby Jesus coming at Christmas does not mean that there won't be any darkness in our lives, nor does it mean that our suffering will immediately disappear. What the light of the world coming into the darkness does show us is that we're not alone in our suffering. We have a God who is willing to come into the mess, to weep with us, to rage with us, and to hold us in our pain. So whatever darkness you are going through this Christmas, we at Youthwork magazine pray that you will encounter the Prince of Peace, that he will bring hope and light into your darkness. Merry Christmas.